I'm back, and so is my favorite show on the Zeus Network, Joseline's Cabaret. Joseline's Cabaret, California, Season 6. It's here, and I am more than ready to talk about it with you. You want to talk about it? Let's do it. Welcome back to Damien After Dark. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed to my channel before, please click that subscribe button and also press the thumbs up button and like this video as well. That helps me get into the YouTube algorithm. It's free to do, and I would so appreciate the support, all right? Join the conversation and let me know what you thought about the season 6 premiere of Joseline's Cabaret, California, all right? Last but not least, in the description box below will be some ways that you can donate. If you want to take that route, I really appreciate it. But again, it's free to support. Subscribe, like, comment. Okay, thank you guys so much. All right, again, I'm ready. I'm back with Joseline's Cabaret season 6, and I'm so excited about this show because, like I said, it's one of my favorites. It's my favorite on the network. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm over baddies. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm saying that after doing this show for like we've been recapping baddies for 7 seasons, I think. And don't get me wrong, I will still continue to recap baddies. It just, I don't know, I was just burnt out with it. Do you know what I mean? But for those of you who still like baddies, and you still care, I will still post recaps of the old episodes that we're behind on. Okay, now Joseline's Cabaret, California. Let's get into it. How did y'all feel about season 6 premiere? We got a lot of OG girls back from prior seasons. We got about 6 to 7 new girls. How are we feeling about it? I'm here for it. I think it's going to be a good season. I think it's long overdue for Joseline to bring the cabaret to California. It only seemed right to do season 6 in California, seeing as they have not done a season in the California area. Now, we find out at the beginning, the season 6 begins, and we get a little bit of foreshadowing. Right? We see a little bit of foreshadowing, and we find out at the beginning that Hennessy, y'all remember Hennessy from last season, we find out that she leaked Joseline's phone number. Hennessy and Joseline end up getting into an argument at some point during this season. Hennessy leaks Joseline's phone number on her Instagram stories, and we see all this play out in the first episode at the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. Okay, so apparently in New York City they do this big Puerto Rican Day Parade, and it's just a big parade to honor and dedicate to the Puerto Rican culture, and whatnot, right? So it only makes sense for Joseline to be there and perform, right? It only makes sense for the Puerto Rican princess to be at the Puerto Rican Day Parade performing. So Zeus is at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Joseline, the girls, they're all there. They have a float in the parade. They're on top of this float. Joseline performs. The girls dance. It was a cute little thing, right? I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. Now, Joseline is performing with the girls, of course, and we see that Hennessy's not there because apparently she left to go get hair and makeup. So we see Joseline ask the girls, "Where's Hennessy?" And I think it was Andrea who said, "Oh, she left to get hair and makeup." So already Joseline's not feeling Hennessy. Joseline is upset with Hennessy because of this whole hair and makeup situation, but something tells me that it's deeper rooted than that. I don't feel like that it all just stemmed from Hennessy being late and not showing up because she was doing hair and makeup. I think it was probably a lot of things that built up to this a lot, because y'all got to remember, when the show ends, Joseline and these girls are still together. They go on tour. You heard on this we heard on episode 1 that Joseline and the girls did a 49 city tour in the United States. So that's a lot of traveling and dipping and doing, right? So there's a lot of history. There's a lot of time that these girls spend together. So we don't know if there's anything that happened that really stems from this altercation between Joseline and Hennessy. Now they're all on the float, right? And Hennessy finally shows up. And Joseline says, "Are you ready for your scene or do you want to get fired? Are you ready for your scene or do you want to?" At first, I was like, what is she talking about? And then I had to think about it because, we've talked about it here. Zeus doesn't really, they edit very poorly. Like, we've talked about how on Zeus Network, they'll tell on themselves. They will air stuff that should have been edited out. You know what I'm saying? Um, so in this scene, they're breaking the fourth wall, and we see Joseline tell Hennessy, "Are you ready for your scene, or do you want to get fired?" In other words, are you ready to film? Are you ready to film a scene between all of us, between you and I? Are you ready to film this scene between you and I, and me asking you where you are and why you weren't here and why you were late, or do you want to get fired? Now, Hennessy, with all the oomph in her chest, Hennessy says, "What?" Just like a smart-ass, badass kid, right? What? With an attitude, right? And Joseline repeats it and says, "Are you ready for your scene or do you want to get fired?" And Hennessy says, "I'm standing here like everyone else." And she starts talking back to Joseline and defending herself. And then Joseline kicks her on this parade. What Joseline really wanted to do was lunge at her and beat her ass. But she's trying to hold her composure. What Joseline tried to say was she was trying to hold her composure because she didn't want to embarrass herself or the cabaret in front of these people at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. But what it really boils down to is that Joseline didn't want to violate that probation and send her ass back to jail because she's on probation. She's on papers right now for that shit she did with, what's old girl's name that was on the cabaret in season 2? Big Lex. Y'all remember how she beat Big Lex's ass at that Floyd Mayweather fight in Florida? Joseline is still on probation for that. So she ain't trying to catch another charge, right? She's not trying to get in any trouble. Yet she kicks at Hennessy. "Hennessy, you a better one than me. Call that probation officer. So motherfucking quick on. Call that probation officer on that ass." No, listen, seriously though. Y'all know last season I didn't care for Hennessy. But right here, I really, like, and I don't know what happened between them. If she was late, yes, she should be reprimanded. But Joseline likes to talk to these girls like they're hoes, like they're dirt, like they're trash, like they're filth. So you can't be mad when somebody gives it back to you. And just like Hennessy said, I'm standing here like the rest of these girls. She was standing there like the rest of them. Here goes Joseline. "Are you ready for your scene or do you want to get fired?" "What do you mean? I'm standing here like the rest of them." Again, I get if Hennessy was late, but pull me to the side. Don't try to make me look like Boo Boo the Fool and try to embarrass me in front of all these bitches and hoes and tricks and shit and everybody out here on this watching this parade because you want to stroke your ego and play into that Joseline Hernandez character and role. I think Hennessy was just fed up with it and like, fuck it, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this for an entire season. Kissing ass, taking abuse, because that's what it is. We ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. Okay. Now Joseline says, "You're not coming back to season 6." And Hennessy says, "I don't give a fuck. You can suck my dick." Bitch. Baby, Hennessy said, "It's on and popping." What? Hennessy said, "I don't need this fucking show. I don't need this fucking check. Fuck you." I'm just like, I love it when they give it back to Joseline. I love a girl that's not scared. Now she ain't scared. Now I don't know what happened. Something happened. Something happened. We're not getting the full context here. It's deeper than Hennessy showing up late. Because why would Hennessy just show with all this attitude, spice, and fire? Something happened. And y'all notice how they blurred Hennessy's face? Like she didn't sign a contract? I'm like, y'all act like we don't know who Hennessy is. Y'all act like she didn't sign a contract. Why are we blurring her face? I just didn't understand that. But then someone said on Instagram, which kind of made sense, that they were not trying to give her camera time. Which I feel like is an ego thing for Zeus. What do you mean you're not trying to give her camera time? She was there. She's a part of the story. Show her face. Then when the show's over, you can move her along. You know, like y'all are doing it because of your ego as the Zeus network. Nobody's going to fuck with us. Nobody's going to fuck with Joseline. Instead of just leaving her face there and then firing her and we don't have to see her anymore. I feel like if you're going to blur her face like that, just don't even include her in the show. Don't include her in the story. Cut her out. Y'all needed her bad enough for that first episode, evidently, to have some drama at the beginning. Now, even though Joseline just kicked Hennessy, as I said, she really wanted to beat the brakes off of her, right? But again, she's in public and she's on probation. So what does she do? She has her minion, her dirtbag dustball hooker of a minion, Swamp Water, aka Mud Puddle, aka Oceans, right? We all know how much we couldn't stand Oceans last season. Well, she's back this season, and she's got her cape on, her Captain Save-A-Ho cape, and she is here to lick Joseline's ass all season and be Joseline's punching bag, right? So what does Ocean do after Joseline kicks Hennessy? After Joseline kicks Hennessy, she says, get her off here. Get her out. Get her out. Get her out, right? Now, Danny and Andrea, they're just like, go, just go, just go. Well, Oceans, aka Mud Puddle, aka Swamp Water, she actually like starts putting her hands on Hennessy. We see Ocean start grappling Hennessy, grabbing her by the shoulders, bitch, which Hennessy actually handled Oceans, in my opinion. All of a sudden, Oceans and Hennessy, they're fighting on this flow. I'm just like, Lord, the NYPD is going to show up in any minute now, and they go into jail. But we didn't see that. What we saw was Hennessy versus Oceans on top of this float, going at it, fighting one another. Oceans is trying to prove loyalty to Joseline, which worked, right? It worked out for her in her favor. Now, after the parade, after the girls get off the float, everybody's on the sidewalk, chilling, you know, recouping. The parade's over, right? I love how off rip, Joseline is pissed. Joseline is pissed that when this altercation between her and Hennessy went down, she's upset that no one had her back but Oceans. Because remember, like I said, Andrea and Danny, the two hyenas, they're the ones that have been there longer than anyone, the ones that licked Joseline's ass more than anybody. When Joseline told them to get Hennessy off the bus, here they go. Right? Oceans was the only one that listened to her pimp's orders. Now, Joseline is on the sidewalk talking to Danny and Andrea, and she is dogging them out. I mean, she is trashing them, dogging them, talking to them like Stevie J used to talk to her, but worse. Telling them they're full of shit. Y'all two are full of shit, and I'm glad I know it. Y'all two ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. You never was shit. And I'm glad I know it. I mean, she's talking to them like a pimp. And what do? They always take it. And I can't stand that Danny. How she sits there like a freaking battered, bruised puppy dog. Like, girl, get up. I just want to say, get up and get some fucking dignity about yourself. Dirty Danny. Dirty, degenerate Danny. What's wrong with you? I know your parents are at home shaking their motherfucking head. Y'all literally, no cap, the entire time, for those that didn't watch, the entire time Joseline is dogging these girls out, Danny is sitting there like this. Like, all that was missing out of that scene was Joseline backing her hand like this and pimp slapping the fuck out of both of them. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't have been mad at it from the way they was acting. I'm just going to be real with it. Now, that was the intro, right? Then the theme song, like we see, like the first 10 minutes is like the whole Joseline versus Hennessy situation. Then after Joseline cusses Danny and Andrea out, the scene ends and the theme song begins for the show. The intro begins for the show. Now, we all know that every season of Joseline's Cabaret, the theme song, the intro, is a Joseline music video, right? This season is no different, except this season, the music video is, and listen, just when I thought that Joseline Hernandez's music could not get any better, and the joke was on us, bitch, because I can remember back in the day, we all, when Joseline was making music, y'all remember when she was in the studio covered in sweat, high as fuck on crack, allegedly, and coke, allegedly, and she was sitting there rapping. You can find it on YouTube. Joseline was high as Cooter Brown in the studio years ago, pre-Love and Hip Hop days, recording high as. We all used to joke at Joseline Hernandez as a music artist. We all used to think, okay, Joseline, just another washed up reality star trying to do music. But Joseline came along and proved us all wrong, okay? Because if it's one thing that Joseline can do, she can drop a hit. She can drop a bop. And when I tell you that season 6 theme song, I Like the Way You Are, Disco Shoes, parentheses, disco shoes, this is her best song in my opinion. Just when I thought her music could not get any better, she drops I Like the Way You Are, okay? This fun summer anthem that makes you just want to drop the top, bitch, okay? Drop the top, light a blunt with an ice cold drink and the music playing and you and some friends or you and your boo and you're just driving and enjoying the sunshine as it hits your face and the wind blows through your hair. Do you know what I'm saying? I come in real sexy walking, but of course I get straight to dancing. You know my haters keep it straight, shoe blocking. Don't give a fuck if your man is watching. I love my man cause he do me nasty. Yeah. I love my man cause he do me nasty. I like the way you are. 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 I like the. Let me stop. I literally had my nieces dancing to this song this past weekend. I was watching the cabaret. They was doing their thing. The song started playing. And they're like, we all dance. It's really a catchy song, right? Now Ballistic, Joseline, and Melissa, Joseline's alleged lesbian lover, aka her manager. They're at this big, beautiful mansion in LA. Okay, probably the biggest, best house they've ever had on the cabaret. You know, the budget's up with Zeus, the money's up. They got the money. Huge mansion in LA. Joseline is rehashing the Hennessy situation, telling Melissa and Ballistic about it, and she says she kicked that bitch in the pussy. That's how Joseline said it, and she pretty much did. And talking about Hennessy, and she says that Hennessy's now fired, except she has a bone to pick with the Hyenas, Danny and Andrea. Okay, Joseline's telling Ballistic and Melissa that she has a bone to pick with these two because they didn't have her back during that situation with Hennessy. Now, Joseline talks about how, you know, when the Hyenas get there, she's going to talk to them, but first she needs to talk to Ballistic and Melissa about who she's bringing back for season 6 of the Cabaret. Now, it's no secret that the Hyenas are coming back. Danny and Gabby. Danny and, is it Gabby? No, I'm thinking of the Victor twins on Bad Girls Club. Danny and Andrea, they're back, unfortunately. It is what it is. Swamp Water, a.k.a. Dirty Feet, a.k.a. Mud Puddle, a.k.a. Piss Water, a.k.a. Toilet Water, a.k.a. Oceans. She's back. Des from last season. A lot of the girls from last season really, I think, stood out and made their mark, and now they're back this season. Because y'all remember Cabaret, Joseline's Cabaret in New York? Hardly any of those girls got brought back. Y'all remember all of them? Like, what was their names? I don't remember, but they, y'all remember those girls? Season 4 of the Cabaret in New York. The T Love was one of them. T Love is back. She's probably one of the only girls from season 4 that really has got another shot. I feel like a lot of those girls were forgotten. Holiday, remember her on season 4? She was one of the breakouts on there. There was a bunch of different girls that we no longer saw after season 4. Anyway, T Love is there from season 4, but from season 5, we've got, Oceans, Danny, Andrea, Dez, again, who I liked, Neek, who was the breakout star. We all love us some Neek. She's back, of course. Miss Natural from seasons, what, 2, 3? 2 and 3, I think. Yeah, 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 5. I don't know. I know Miss Natural's been around, right? She's back. I'm glad Miss Natural's back because Miss Natural is not. Natural is one of those that I feel like Joseline has respect for because Natural is going to tell Joseline how it is to her face straight up. T Love again, which I wasn't expecting T Love to be there because again, the season 4 girls, nobody really stood out that much. And to me, T Love was not impressive in season 5. But then we find out why T Love is really there. Because apparently T Love's sister beat up Miss Natural. T Love's sisters, plural, okay? Let me make that clear. Plural with an S. Apparently T Love's sisters beat up Miss Natural, and apparently they whooped her ass so hard that she pissed on herself, according to the girls, okay? Now, when I heard that, bitch, I said, what? Oh, my. Oh, my. When I heard that, I said, that's why they cast T Love. It had to make sense. That's why they cast her. Egypt is back from last season. Y'all remember Egypt? Isis is back from last season. And Lexi Gold. Not to mistake her for Lexi Blow, but Lexi Gold. Remember Lexi Gold? I like Lexi Gold a lot, too. I like Lexi Gold because she seemed like she was never putting on for the camera and she was just being herself, right? Also back from last season is Erica and Chinks. They pretty much brought the entire fucking cast back from last season, bitch, okay? And speaking of last season, rest in peace to Moni. Y'all remember the BBW last season, Moni? Was she a BBW? Would I consider her a BBW? Anyway, she passed away tragically in a car accident a month or 2 ago. Rest in peace to her, because that's one thing I liked about Moni last season is that she stayed true to herself and she didn't let any of those girls or that show change her. Because y'all remember last season, Moni was the one that Raven was trying to say, you need to show your personality more, you need to dance more, you need to be more sexy and all that. That was Moni, and I'm so glad that Diamond and Raven are not a part of this season because I could not stand them last season, okay? Now, Joseline ends up FaceTiming Andrea. And she's like, she calls her a pussy ass bitch right off the bat. Right off the bat. And she says, you pussy ass bitch. The white girl had my back and you didn't. How you gonna let the white girl have my back? How you gonna let the white girl have my back and you didn't? That's what she keeps telling Andrea. But Andrea says that her excuse is that she couldn't fight in front of the kids. She didn't want to fight in front of these kids at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. But I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? You fight in front of kids every fucking Sunday night on the Zeus Network. You don't think kids be watching Joseline's Cabaret? You don't think the kids don't be watching Baddies in the Zeus Network? Now, whether they're not, some people can say, well, Damieon, kids aren't supposed to be doing, they might not supposed to be doing it, but they do it. Kids be watching it. So, Andrea, you can miss me with that excuse that you didn't want to fight in front of children. Just be real and say you didn't want to fight in public and you didn't want to go to jail and you didn't want to do it. You just didn't want to do it. To say you didn't want to do it in front of the kids, that's a bullshit excuse. To say, I would have said I didn't want to go to jail out there in public in the middle of the streets of New York City for fight. That's what you should have said. I feel like that would have been an easier excuse to buy than the children excuse. Because all of a sudden you care about the children. Girl, you know what? I ain't even going to go there. I ain't going to go there. Now, Danny and Andrea, Joseline tells Andrea on FaceTime, you and Danny need to meet me here right now, right? They end up showing up to the house. They come meet Joseline. Danny comes in. This is why I can't stand this girl. I can't stand her. She doesn't know how to read the room. She has zero self-awareness. She comes in bowing, first of all. Bowing, y'all, saying, I love you, princess. I'm not worthy. I love you. And Joseline had the same fucking reaction that I would have had, which was, do you think this is a joke? Because that's what Joseline said to her. Do you think this is a fucking joke while you're walking in here talking about, I'm fixing to give you a reason to bow. All I'm sitting here thinking is, now when Joseline rock your jaw with her 6-inch fucking heel, I don't want to hear it, Danny. Dirty Danny degenerate. I just don't want to go through another season, y'all, of having to watch these two. Anyway. Danny gonna say, I stand in the paint for the princess. No, baby, you stand in the paint to be a pussy. We all know it. We ain't buying this tough girl act. You can try to sell it, Danny, but ain't nobody buying, alright? Now, Joseline brings up how, she's obviously upset that nobody had her back except for Ocean. She says, especially since she's changed these girls' lives. She tells Danny and Andrea that she's changed their lives. And she says, how much money have y'all made since working with me? And Danny lets it slip and says, $50,000. I want y'all to let that sink in for a minute. Joseline says, how much money have you girls made since working with me? And Danny lets it slip and says $50,000. Now, Joseline immediately says, are you kidding me? So she looks at Andrea and she says, so Drea, how much have you made since working with me? She's pretty much looking at Andrea like, Andrea, clean this shit up. Clean it up real quick, because we on camera, and she just said I paid y'all $50,000. How much money have you made, Andrea? So Andrea bumps it up a little bit. She bumps the number up from $50,000 to $80,000. She wasn't even sure about that, because she was like, about $80K. So she says that so it doesn't sound as bad as the $50K. And again, this is another example of Zeus Network telling on themselves. They don't edit out things that should be edited out. We as the viewers shouldn't be knowing what these girls are making on this show, right? If I was running Zeus, we would have edited that out. But they left it in there. They love to tell all their dirty little secrets. And now here we are talking about it, right? So my thing is, if you think about it, these girls, Danny and Andrea, this is what, their third or fourth season. They've been doing this show for 3 or 4 seasons, and they've made $50,000 to $80,000. Y'all, I can go out here and work a job for 3 to 4 years and make double, triple that. Triple that. Hell, you can make $50,000 at a job in a year. I don't need to be degraded, beat on, called dirt and trash, shake my ass in a club and to make $50,000. Like, what? And listen, even if they did make $50K like Danny said, and let's say they made it in 1 year, right? Because some of y'all could say, oh, well, Damien, what if they're talking about this season? They made $50K. Again, $50K in 1 year, I could go make that at a job. I don't have to be berated by Joseline Hernandez. I'm starting to think some of these girls like being talked to like trash, and it's like a kink or something. Yeah, I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? Now, Joseline says, this is the bullshit that everybody hates y'all for. She ain't lying. She said, this is the shit everybody hates y'all for. And then Danny says the magic words. Danny says what I think is the code word. Because I believe that Danny and Andrea talked before this scene. And Andrea said, Danny, you're going to have a code word. And as soon as you say the code word, I'm going to hit you, right? So all of a sudden, Danny says, to Joseline, I don't want no smoke. And I feel like that was the code word, the code sentence. I don't want no smoke. I feel like Andrea and Danny planned it out, and Andrea said, as soon as you say, I don't want no smoke, I'm going to punch you, and then we can make a hell of a scene. That's what I think Danny and Andrea did. Just like last season when they were fighting each other at the reunion. That was all staged bullshit. They're doing it again in this scene. Because all of a sudden, when Danny says she don't want no smoke, Andrea says, I do. And she pushes Danny. She pushes her. She says, I'm sick of you always playing. Andrea says, I'm sick of you. Or Andrea tells Danny, I'm sick of you always playing. I'm sick of you always playing. After she just pushed her, right? Joseline's like me. We all look at the TV like what the fuck? Like, it's so obvious at this point that this is so fake and contrived, and that these two girls planned this. Joseline's sitting there looking dumbfounded. And Joseline asks Andrea, why didn't you fight the other bitch on the float in the parade? Talking to Danny and Andrea both. Great question. Y'all constantly want to fight one another. Why didn't you fight Oceans, Andrea, on that parade float for Joseline? You want to buck up on your best friend, Danny, for clicks and ratings and views, or to try to, change the conversation? To try to take the heat off of you two? You want to jump on Danny? Why didn't you jump on motherfucking Hennessy on that float when Joseline told you to? It makes no sense. These girls are dumber than dumb. The dumbest of the dumbest of the dumb. Joseline is telling them too how dumb they are and calling them stupid bitches. And I'm sorry, I couldn't agree with her more. And I don't understand why she brings them back. Oh, I know why she brings them back, because those are the type of girls that are going to let you treat them any way possible, right? Now, after Danny and Andrea do their theatrics, in walks Oceans. In walks Swamp Water. She comes in, she hugs Joseline, and she targets Andrea immediately for not having Joseline's back, right? Oceans came in there with an agenda. Oceans came in there with a mission, and that was to whoop Danny or Andrea's ass because they did not have Joseline's back at that parade. And if Oceans comes in and whoops Danny and Andrea's ass, she's going to get another point with Joseline. She's fighting another one of Joseline's battles for her, right? And apparently, Ocean also says that she has an issue with Danny and Andrea because they have some beef that stems back from Paris when they were in Paris touring for Joseline's Cabaret. Now, after Oceans and Danny start scrapping, listen, if Oceans can whoop your ass or scruff you up, that's sad, because she can't fight. That girl can't fight. She can't dance. She can't hardly do nothing right. So if you let Oceans scruff you up, it's a sad day, okay? Now, that's exactly what happened, because Danny looks a hot fucking mess, all right? Danny's nose is gushing. She's got blood running down her nose and her face. Her hair is matted. I'm just like, give it up, Delicious. Give it up. You look a mess, Danny. It's only episode 1. We haven't even got through the episode, and you already look a travesty. Look a hot fucking mess. What is wrong with this girl? Now, Joseline is diabolical, okay? Joseline said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. What we're not going to do is let that girl bleed out right here. I don't know her status. I said, girl, what? It's not funny, okay? It's not funny. It's just, it was so random. It was so fucking random. Diabolical, okay? Now, Andrea, you and Danny both, punk puss ass hoes. Y'all get in this camera, y'all get in this confessional, you talk cash money shit, and then you tuck your pussy lips and you cry with your nose like this, gushing, and you run away. It's just the hypocrisy for me. And look, listen, I could see if Hennessy had put her hands on Joseline, but she didn't. So I don't get why Joseline wants the girls to jump on her so bad. She's that much of a control freak. She can't stand when she doesn't get her way or when she's told no. Um, so it's just like I don't I don't get it. I feel like you've got too much to lose, Joseline, to be out here fighting in the streets and acting a mess. And I saw where Joseline was online the other day and she was bitching about how she's tried out and auditioned for Real Housewives of Atlanta and they won't cast her. And I'm like, this is why, Joseline, you're not classy enough for a housewife show. You want to fight everywhere, in public, act a fool. They don't do that over there on Housewives. That's why you belong on Zeus. That's the brand is Zeus, okay? Now, we meet some of the new girls because everybody is getting on the Sprinter van and they're getting ready to head to, I believe, the house, because they're doing what Joseline calls one night only. Every season at the first episode, she does a one night only mixer where everybody comes together and mingles and talks and hangs out. So all the new girls plus the OGs are heading to this mixer. Now, apparently one of the new girls this season was already on another Zeus show, Erica Mena's show. Y'all remember Erica Mena's show, that dating show she had? One of the contestants on that show is on Joseline's Cabaret this season, which I thought was interesting. Chinks gets on the bus. And apparently there are some unresolved issues between Chinks and Lexi Gold. There's some tension there. Because if you remember at the reunion, Chinks accused Lexi Gold of trying to recruit underage girls to work in the streets, be prostitutes, right? That's a hell of an accusation right there. So I completely understand Lexi Gold being pissed and still holding on to that. And that's one of the things that's where this tension is coming from, right? Now, I don't believe that Lexi Gold tried to recruit underage girls, because I feel like in today's society, that stuff is so, cracked down upon for the most part. Now, I know there are people out here that are doing that, right? But I feel like with Lexi Gold, I feel like in that situation, she would have charges by now. If there was some smoke there would be some fire, We would have more evidence of it. Somebody would have come out and said something. There would be more people talking about it. Now listen, Chinks might be telling the truth, but as of right now, that it's only just that, an accusation, a rumor. We don't have anything to follow it up with. Where are the charges? Why has she not been arrested? Why is there not an investigation? Why has none of these girls spoken up? Are they still tricking? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? And look, Lexi Gold, do y'all think that she did that? Do y'all think that she did what Chinks is accusing her of? Hey, listen, I love me some Lexi Gold, but can we talk about, baby, the way Chinks rocked the fuck out of her? Because these two girls end up fighting on the Sprinter van, right? After they get separated and they're on different ends of the Sprinter van, Lexi Gold let her guard down. Lexi Gold let her guard down for a second. She's trying to be cute and she's twerking and she's like, and then all of a sudden, whop! Bitch, Chinks hit her so hard that it knocked her ass back and she fell on her ass. That was a hell of a blow. Okay? Now, next week, the girls move in the house for the first time, and tensions begin to flare, okay? We all know when the girls move in, things go awry. And also, Erica Mena joins the mix next week. And just like I told you guys that one of the new girls this season was a contestant on Erica Mena's show, well, apparently her and Erica Mena have some unresolved issues. And we see one of these new girls and Erica get into it on the next week's episode, okay? All that and more on Joseline's Cabaret, California. It's starting out to be a spicy season, and I hope you'll come along with me as we recap and talk about it. and review the episode each and every week. All right, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and like this video. That helps me get into the algorithm. Join the conversation by getting in the comment section and let me know what you thought about the season 6 premiere of Joseline's Cabaret, California. Last but not least, if you want to join the Damien After Dark movement, help your boy out, you can donate to my channel to help me continue to grow and sustain this channel by getting in the description box. Amazon wish list, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, it's all there, okay? Thank you again. I appreciate it, and I love you guys so much. We'll see you next time on Damien After Dark. Bye.